There comes a moment in every man's life when he stops asking for permission, stops justifying his decisions, stops explaining himself to people who never cared to understand him in the first place. That moment is a turning point. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's powerful. Because from that day forward, you stop living for others and start living with intention. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But here's the part most people miss. Becoming who you are means walking away from the need to be understood. It means accepting that not everyone will get you, and more importantly, it means not caring. When you explain yourself, you hand over power. You're asking someone else to validate your choices. You're seeking approval for how you live, think, and act. And that need, to be seen, to be accepted, is where your strength leaks out. But the moment you stop, the moment you let silence speak louder than excuses, that's when you become dangerous. Because silence is confidence. Stillness is control. Not explaining yourself doesn't mean you're avoiding accountability. It means you've already answered to yourself. And that's all that matters. You know why people constantly explain themselves? Fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being alone. But fear is the mind's way of protecting the ego. And if you let fear lead, you'll stay small. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to your mind. Not everyone earns the right to question your path. When you explain yourself to the wrong people, you're planting seeds in dead soil. You're investing energy where there will be no return. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you cut them off. You don't owe an excuse for your silence. You don't need to defend your dreams, your discipline, or your evolution. You're not here to be palatable. You're not here to make everyone comfortable with your growth. You're here to become who you're meant to be, and that requires outgrowing the need to be liked. Let people misunderstand you. Let them gossip. Let them write their own stories in their heads. Your focus is not on defending your image. It's on building your reality. People will test you. They'll push back when you stop explaining. They'll accuse you of arrogance, selfishness, coldness. But that's because your silence threatens their control. Weak people are addicted to explanations. They need clarity from you to feel comfortable. But you weren't born to comfort weak minds. You were born to lead yourself, quietly, fiercely, and unapologetically. Carl Jung's psychology dives deep into individuation, the process of becoming whole. And here's the brutal truth. Wholeness comes with separation. You have to separate from what no longer serves your growth. That includes the compulsion to be understood. You don't become powerful by shouting louder. You become powerful by knowing who you are and walking like it. When you know your path, you don't need to convince anyone to walk beside you. You walk it alone if you have to. Explaining yourself is a form of self-doubt disguised as humility. It's bending your truth to fit someone else's comfort zone. But growth isn't comfortable. It's brutal. It strips away everything false and leaves only what's real. And what's real? Discipline, vision, intent, the quiet fire inside you that refuses to dim for anyone. The day you stop explaining yourself is the day you start owning your life, fully, fiercely, without compromise. And people will feel that. They'll feel the shift in your energy. They'll sense that something has changed, and they'll either respect it or fear it. Either way, it's not your problem, because you didn't come this far to stay soft. You didn't evolve just to keep explaining the why behind your boundaries. You came to rise. You came to walk away from weakness. You came to stop chasing validation and start building value. And value doesn't need to be explained. It speaks for itself, quietly, consistently, powerfully. That's the difference between those who talk and those who act. The ones who act don't need to broadcast their every move. They don't need to post their plans, announce their growth, or explain their silence. Their results do the talking. Their presence carries weight. And that weight, earned through discipline, pain, and ruthless self-awareness, is what separates the average from the uncommon. Carl Jung understood something most people overlook: the human shadow. The parts of yourself you hide, deny, suppress. And one of the biggest shadows most men carry is the fear of not being accepted. So, we over-explain. We soften our edges. We shrink. But the man who confronts his shadow, the man who integrates it instead of running from it, that man becomes whole. And when you're whole, you don't negotiate your worth. You don't explain your standards. You don't justify your distance. You don't apologize for evolving. That's when people begin to notice. Not because you're louder, but because you're locked in, focused, detached from drama, free from the need to explain every damn move you make. Understand this: people respect clarity. They may not like it, but they respect it. And the man who's clear about who he is becomes unstoppable, because clarity kills confusion. And when you're not confused about your identity, your mission, or your worth, no one else can confuse you either. That's the danger of not explaining yourself. It removes their grip. It ends the games. It says, "This is who I am. Take it or leave it." And most won't know how to handle that level of certainty, because they're still searching for theirs. This isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. You align your values with your actions, your time with your purpose, your words with your truth. And when that alignment locks in, something primal awakens. It's a quiet intensity, a calm dominance. You walk into a room, and you don't have to say a word. Your energy speaks for you. That's what happens when you stop explaining. You reclaim your power. You reclaim your peace. You stop watering down your fire just to make others comfortable in their confusion. It won't be easy. The world is addicted to noise, addicted to validation, addicted to the illusion of connection built on shallow communication. But you weren't built to fit in. You were built to stand firm. And standing firm means knowing when to speak and knowing when to stay silent. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Not everyone gets a seat at your table. Some people only show up to question your path because they can't find their own. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them spin their stories about who you are and why you changed. None of it matters. Because when you stop explaining yourself, you stop being predictable. And when you stop being predictable, you become impossible to control. And when you're impossible to control, you become truly free. Free from their expectations. Free from their labels. Free from the weight of constantly needing to be understood by people who were never built to understand someone like you. That's the price of evolution. Detachment. You start losing people, places, and patterns that once defined you. But you gain something far more valuable: sovereignty, inner authority, the ability to walk alone and still move like an army. People fear what they can't label, and when you stop explaining yourself, they can't categorize you. Are you cold? Are you focused? Are you arrogant? They don't know, and that uncertainty, it unsettles them. Good. Let it. Because your life is no longer built on their comfort. It's built on clarity, vision, execution. You rise while they react. You build while they babble. You elevate while they cling to the noise. This is where strength is forged, in solitude, in silence, in those moments when you feel the pressure to defend yourself and choose not to. That's real discipline. That's real power. It's not about being emotionless. It's about emotional control. You don't owe people a piece of your soul just because they're curious. You don't owe them your story just because they're loud. You owe yourself peace, and peace comes when you no longer hand over pieces of yourself for cheap approval. It comes when you can look in the mirror and say, I'm not who I was, and I don't need to explain why. Most people are chasing the feeling of being seen, but the few who evolve realize you don't need to be seen to be successful. You need to be effective. You need to be consistent. And you need to be ruthless with your time and energy. Explaining yourself drains both. Let your work speak. Let your progress speak. Let your discipline speak. That's louder than any justification. And the truth is, those who respect you won't need an explanation. And those who demand one never really respected you to begin with. So, stop chasing closure. Stop over-explaining your distance. Stop lowering your standards to be digestible. Raise your energy. Sharpen your focus. Move in silence. Build what they said you couldn't, and say nothing while you do it. Because the day you stop explaining yourself is the day you become untouchable. And from that point forward, you no longer move for approval. You move for purpose. Every step, every decision, every cut you make is precise, calculated, and necessary. You're no longer reacting. You're executing. People will start to notice the shift, not because you told them, but because they feel it. The energy changes. You're no longer available for small talk, for gossip, for half-hearted connections. You've withdrawn from the noise, and they don't know how to reach you anymore. Good. Let them wonder. Let them feel the distance. Because distance is clarity, and clarity is lethal. The man who no longer explains himself isn't heartless. He's focused. He's done wasting breath trying to fix what doesn't want to be fixed. He's done trying to pull people along who are committed to standing still. He's not cold. He's done being burnt by people who never brought fire of their own. The path you're walking now, it's not crowded, it's not glamorous, and it's definitely not easy. But it's yours. It's forged through pain, solitude, and relentless self-respect. And every time you choose silence over self-betrayal, you get stronger. Stronger in your vision, stronger in your purpose, stronger in your identity. You stop needing to be right. You stop needing to be liked. You stop needing to be anything other than exactly who you are. And that's the most dangerous thing a man can become. Unshakably, unapologetically, himself. The ones who haven't done the work will call it arrogance. They'll call it ego. But that's just projection. Because when you find peace within, you threaten everyone still chasing it outside. So let them talk. Let them criticize. Let them mislabel your silence as weakness, your boundaries as hostility, your confidence as conceit. You don't have time to explain truth to minds addicted to lies. You don't have energy to waste proving yourself to people who never had the capacity to understand you in the first place. You're building something they can't see. And that's fine. Your mission isn't up for debate. Your future isn't up for negotiation. Your value isn't up for validation. And every time you don't explain yourself, you send a clear message without saying a word. I am not here to be understood. I'm here to become unstoppable. And that mindset, that raw, focused, fire-tested mindset, is what will take you beyond anything they ever imagined for you. Because you're no longer held back by their opinions, their projections, or their approval. You've stepped outside the system of silent obedience, of explaining every move, of playing small just to be accepted. Now, you lead, you build, you move in alignment. You don't chase influence. You become influence. This version of you The one that doesn't explain, doesn't apologize, doesn't shrink, is the most dangerous version. Because he's clear, he's sharp, and he's free. So let the world keep guessing. Let them fill in the blanks with their assumptions. You've got work to do, and from this point forward, you're doing it without permission. Let your silence scream. Let your discipline echo, and let your results end every conversation you chose to walk away from. If this message hit you like it was meant to, subscribe. There's more coming. Drop a like if you're done playing small, and let me know in the comments. What's one thing you'll stop explaining, starting today? Stay focused. Stay dangerous. We're just getting started.